Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Hollywood again. We're going to talk about the Hollywood animation scene and how it's not looking too good for animators. In Hollywood right now, we have more anecdotal evidence of people who have had careers in Hollywood for decades, and they're not able to find work now.
Shocker.
Yeah, so look, I want to be very clear up front. We're not happy about this. We're not making fun of anyone for not being able to find work, but it's also kind of like, look, guys, we said this was going to happen. It's happening now. Now everyone's acting like they're surprised by it. And I'm like, no, animation costs a lot, and it doesn't really bring a lot of value to streaming networks. And, you know, we're seeing cable TV implode. We're seeing Warner Brothers basically shut down Cartoon Network. Like week after week, it's like, oh yeah, we pulled this show off the air, that show off the air. Yeah, we're shutting the studio down. Yeah, we're shut. It just doesn't. I don't know what to tell you,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
But I know we're gonna get these people. They're like, yeah, but I just graduated from SCAD. Where's my job that I'm owed? And I'm like, well, sweetheart, I hate to break it to you, but we got people that have been working in the industry for decades right now that they can't find work. And when you have a high profile disaster like unfortunately Transformers 1 was, and again, that's not a knock against the quality of the film, but it did not do well. It's not going to make its money back.
No.
And even the Wild Robot did okay, but not gangbusters. And it's just the money is not there. This is the unified theory of everything. Basically, the money is running out. A lot of these projects that were greenlit under better circumstances 8 or 10 years ago, they had the luxury of being greenlit when there was lots and lots and lots of free money, and now nobody has any money.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because it takes a while for this stuff.
Yeah, and it's not just AI. I mean, AI compounds the situation, but that's what they're going to try to blame it on. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Check out Clownfish Minus. Go out to Clownfish Minus. I don't even know how to pronounce the name of our thing. Clownfishminus.com. Join the reef. 50% off your first month. We got some products in, including this hat that I love and other people love because they've ordered a bunch of them. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
This is sort of one of our fallbacks because I don't know I talked to you about this yesterday a little bit with YouTube. Did you hear about that? With the YouTube, they basically suspended a bunch of channels because
you told me about that,
oopsie doopsie, they had a glitch. Like last night,
in quotes.
quote unquote, a glitch. Yeah, there are a lot of weird things going on with the internet in general, but I'm like, you know what? Maybe we need to build a little bit of a life raft here. So check out Clownfish Minus. You'll get exclusive content, and worst case scenario, we ever get shut down on YouTube, we'll just post more over there, right? So let's talk about Hollywood in general first, and then we'll get into the specifics on the animation industry. This was just posted a couple of days ago, and they said Hollywood's big boom has gone bust. They said that a lot of people moved out to Hollywood. They said that they were saving money to buy a house. This guy, he moved. This is Michael Fortin. He moved to Hollywood, and he was doing really well, and he said now he's on the verge of becoming homeless again. We were saving money to buy a house. We had money. We had done things the right way. 2 years ago, I didn't worry about going out to dinner with my wife and kids and spending $200.
Yep.
Now I worry about going out and spending $5 on a value meal at McDonald's.
God, I've been there.
We've been
I
there.
understand. And I almost lost the house before. We understand.
We did. I got
And they had
laid
two
off.
young kids. So did we.
Yeah. He said for over a decade, business was booming in Hollywood, with studios battling to catch up to new companies like Netflix and Hulu. But the good times ground to a halt in May 2023 when the writers went on strike.
I think like you said back then, they just use it as a chance to cut off things that they wanted to get rid of. And I think they let it go as long as they did because they were trying to, get to a point where they could do force majeure and, get rid of crap or whatever. And just be like, hey guys, we're going to have to cut back. We'll give you more, but we have to cut all this other stuff. And they were looking for a reason. It was buyer's remorse. Yeah.
They greenlit a lot of projects, and people, you have to realize it takes years for this stuff, especially animation, to work its way through the pipeline. And they greenlit a lot of stuff when they had a lot of money, and then they're like, yeah, none of this stuff's making money, is it? And we're not making as much money as we thought we're going to. We all thought we'd be the next Netflix, and it didn't work out. Even for Disney, Disney's a distant second, but they're not making the money that they've spent. on programming. So, and I felt bad. I mean, look, we did multiple videos about the strikes, and we said flat out, this is not going to go the way you think it's going to go. And people gave us all kinds of shit about it. We had one weirdo did a video saying that we were advocating for the studios to go out and like assault people or something.
What?
Because I made that joke about the Josh Brolin character in Hail Caesar. This one moron does like low IQ guy goes out and does like a whole. And even people in the comments are
that
like,
guy,
that guy,
okay, I know
he's
who you
always,
mean.
Anyway,
yeah, that was really reaching.
and we were just like, no, I'm just saying, like, back in the day, the studios were a lot tougher about this stuff. But what was going to happen was the people that were left were going to get paid more, but they were going to make sure that they weren't going to have to pay as many. Because every time they do one of these big contract negotiations, it winds up with fewer people working. And a lot of these people, they only knew summer. They only knew the spending spree, right? But it was never gonna last.
And the thing is, because the actors and the writers and stuff got their, what they wanted.
They got what they wanted.
Jobs like his, where he was flying drones and stuff, that kind of stuff. Other things, also were hard hit because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he's an actor and aerial cinematographer. Yeah. So the strikes lasted multiple months and marked the first time since the 60s that both writers and actors joined forces, effectively shutting down Hollywood production. But rather than roaring back, in the 1 year since the strikes ended, production has fizzled. Projects have been canceled. Production was cut across the city as jobs have dried up with layoffs at many more studios, most recently at Paramount. Had a second round of layoffs this week. And yeah, it's all imploding, right? They said unemployment in film and TV in the U.S. was at 12.5% in August, but many think those numbers are actually higher. Yeah, I am hearing they said that they think 3 out of 4 production professionals in Hollywood are out of work right now.
Wow.
And I mean, we had people that just came off of major movies that were doing GoFundMes. The one guy who directed, was it Justin Simeon, the guy who did the Haunted Mansion movie? Even before it was released, he was doing a GoFundMe to try to pay the bills, keep the lights on. I think he was holding out, hoping that movie was going to be a hit, so he could get his people paid. And it wasn't a hit because Disney dropped the ball with the marketing on that one. They said many film workers either do not file for unemployment benefits because they're not eligible, or they've exhausted those benefits after months of not working. This actually happened to me when I got laid off, when we almost lost the house, because you only have so long that you can stay on unemployment. And other people, not to be bitter, but other people got a lot more time than I got, and I paid in a lot longer than they did. And it was the first time I ever needed unemployment. I never took it before, and I'd been paying in since I was 15 years old. I started working at 15. And I was pissed.
Because that's right when they decided to cut the extension. Yeah,
they cut the extension. Anyway, as a whole, the number of U.S. productions during the second quarter of 2024 was down 40% compared to the same period in 2022. Globally,
I would, I guess that's about what I would expect. I would say maybe I expected more, but no, I guess that's about what I expect.
Yeah, there was a 20% decline over that period. I think it's worse than that, and I think it's hitting animation. We're going to talk about animation here in a second, but I think it's hitting animation harder because animation is a lot more expensive, and I guess the return on investment takes longer because it takes so damn long to get it out there.
I think so, but real quick, I wanted to mention, I think it's interesting globally, there was only a 20% decline because all the networks like Netflix and Hulu and stuff are going and getting things like kdramas and bringing them over here.
Yeah.
So that's why it didn't decline so much over there, because those shows are in demand and they're willing to pay for that.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out, but it continue.
Yeah, and they're outsourcing to cheaper places to produce content.
For animation for sure.
Yeah, I mean and again, everybody's like AI. AI is part of the problem, but even if AI did not exist, they would still be looking to outsource because of the expense. And the animators are asking for more money now. And what's the studio's response? Oh, I guess we're just going to outsource. We're just going to go outside the country and send more work over there. And if it goes to China, oh well, we don't know it went to China, right?
It's only an issue when we get caught.
Yeah, it's only an issue when we get caught. So we give it to the studio in South Korea. We give it to Rough Draft or whoever they're sending it to, and they send it wherever they want to, and we don't ask questions. And that's our plausible deniability. It's all on them.
Yeah, plausible deniability.
Yeah, they sent it to China. That's their problem, not our problem. So this is Matthew Bellany, who runs Puck News. He said the era has come out of the content bubble.
Yes.
Crisis is a good word. I try not to be alarmist, but crisis is what people are feeling.
But the problem was there was too much being made compared to what the demand was. There was too much supply, not demand. It sucks.
Yeah.
But the studios were just, overspending, and then it bit them in the ass, and now it's going to hurt everyone else.
This was a planned mass layoff, and somebody else did an article. I can't remember what it was exactly. They were talking about the layoffs at Amazon. They said they're layoffs, but they're not layoffs. Basically, they're telling everyone you have to come back to work. You have to come back to the office. And if you don't come back to the office, even though you moved to like Nebraska, well, then you're out of a job. Yeah, what they're saying is that basically their return to office policy, which is pissing a lot of people off, is basically just a layoff in disguise.
Oh, because they know a lot of people can't come back.
Right.
And so they're, you're going to have to be gone, I guess.
Benefits.
Yep.
This is what happens. This is what I think Disney was actually planning with the move to Florida. I think it was partially about tax incentives, but I think it was also to be like, well, if you're not willing to move to Florida, oh, well, I guess you're out of a job.
Sucks to be you, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. This is how because they can say we extended an offer to you, but you chose not to take it. But Disney got sued over that because Disney actually moved or had, people sold their houses in LA.
Yeah, there's something going on with that, yeah.
But that's what they do. These companies do this all the time. Oh, hey, you can't return to office. It's not feasible. Oh, well, guy, I'm so sorry. Here, if you're lucky, you get severance or whatever, but they don't have to technically lay you off at that point. You're basically just being pushed out. So yeah, this is going on right now, but I think that's what I think that's what the strikes were about. Like, let them do it, because it seemed like the studios were just like, this is a great way to save a lot of money on a lot of shitty shows that we know nobody's going to watch, and we're hurting. So you know what? If we can just pause making shows and movies that nobody's going to watch anyway for like a year, then we can plead poverty and not bring them all back. Oh boy!
Which we said was going to happen.
Yes, but apparently that's the same as wanting these people to be punched in the head or something stupid like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so let's go to animation. That's what this really was about.
Oh, really? Okay, it took you a while.
Because animation's getting hit harder than other parts of Hollywood, because animation it's always been like a luxury item, and it's very expensive, and a lot of the animation is kids animation, and kids now are just watching crap on YouTube. They're not watching Cartoon Network, obviously, and then it seems like Warner Brothers is shutting Cartoon Network down, so nobody's getting a phone call, right? And this, I have to give a hat tip to our friend Sarah, who sent this over. This is the animation career subreddit. How is the market in LA right now? With the year wrapping up, the OP says, I'm kind of curious to see how everyone in LA is doing. Maxwell Adams, creator of The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, got access back to his Facebook and is selling off items to get a little income in. I know he's worked on several other projects, one being a huge Cartoon Network crossover on Jellystone coming out soon. The industry seems to be at a standstill in this new market. Is everyone else doing fine, or are the tough times just starting? If you've got people that have a pretty good reputation and have a track record in the animation industry, selling off stuff, basically having a garage sale to pay the bills, it's not good. It's not good. And I mean, I'm not surprised with the Cartoon Network thing, because I mean, Andy Merrill, the guy who did the voice of Brack, like he was driving an Amazon truck or something because they weren't calling him, but you'd think he would have residuals or something. It's weird. But yeah, I mean, this is basically what's going on. But I'm seeing a lot of this. It's not just him. I'm seeing a lot of creatives selling off basically their history, right? Like, people that work on these kinds of shows or movies or whatever, they accumulate a lot of things in their journey, their creative journey with the craft. And these are all mementos of your career. And I see these people sell this stuff off that has personal value to them. That means things are pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not hoping anybody gets laid off or fired or whatever. But yeah, some of the comments here, sorry to hear it's getting tough out there. I'll try to grab a piece or two. It's a shame that Dead Meat got canceled despite having a very successful Kickstarter campaign. Apparently there was another show they were going to do. Be willing to sign an autograph and mail it to Portugal. I'd be happy to pay for the cost of shipping. It probably costs more than the autograph, but whatever price you want, keep us posted. I love your work. Wishing you the best. I mean, this is, again, you've got somebody that worked on a successful Cartoon Network show, multiple successful Cartoon Network shows, looking for work, not getting a phone call. You've got all these people moving to California and they think they're owed a job.
Okay, well, did anybody actually answer the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there were a bunch of people. This is Drawing Things in LA. I know a director and storyboard artist with an Emmy looking for work. 4 out of 10 visual development artists on the last show I worked are on unemployment. I heard from some PAs that story art on a series was outsourced to Vancouver and Taiwan. This is 4 days ago. I was laid off Friday after 6 years straight, working on 4 shows and features. I don't think TAG will get through negotiations until 2025, so buckle up. It's going to suck. Yeah, so the Animation Guild trying to negotiate for better working conditions, more money, and no AI, and the studios are going to point and laugh. And they're going to say, we don't need your stuff anyway. We don't need
Well,
new
they already
cartoons.
sent it to Vancouver and Taiwan.
Yeah.
So
Not in LA, but I know people with Emmys that are out of work. This one says, question of genuine concern so you know what your friends' plans are while they're on unemployment. Sounds really awful, and I wonder if they have a plan B. Many of them came from video games and have no other... Yeah, they're laying off in video games,
they
too.
have other connections.
And have other connections with other types of entertainment, but nothing is hiring full-time at the moment. I'm doing a small amount of teaching occasionally, but it's not even 10% of my normal pay.
Took good time to point out that teachers aren't paid enough. Anyway.
Yes. So this here. Times are tough, says Jarvis Pennyworth. This might be anecdotal, but everyone I know in animation, a handful of folks, is looking for work and hasn't worked in 9 months to over a year. Ages range from late 30s to 60s. Background painters, storyboard artists, character designers. A couple of folks were dropped when the show was abruptly canceled mid-production. Really weird time for production in general and animation in particular, and I'm not sure it will come back the same way since it's even easier and cheaper to get work done overseas than in times past.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to come back like it did either.
Not if they're asking for more money. Blunt answer is it's terrible. I'm so fucking done with it. Oh, this is bad. I'm so fucking done with this world. Fuck these greedy ass CEOs. This person says, make your own. Don't let corporate interests determine your artistic value. There are studios out there that are doing really well. There are YouTubers out there that are doing really well. And they're doing it on their own. So you can do it, but a lot of people don't have the mindset to be able to do it on their own. But yeah, they're just going on and on.
Wait, read this other one, though. This is unrelated, but I was at a Paramount meeting. This tracks 6 to 8 years ago. They were asking a room full of animators to bring pitches for their ideas. They would have to visualize your idea for them to get a yes or no. It wasn't until years later I found Nickelodeon only offers you something like $600, could be lower, for the idea. And whether they move forward on it is really upon their convenience.
Yes.
This sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, we actually had a couple of... I'm not going to go into too much detail. I think our NDAs are probably up by now, but we actually pitched a couple of shows to Disney, and we got paid a chunk of change for the ideas. But then what happened was, in our opinion, they took our ideas from our one animated show and they used them in a live action show, which was cheaper to produce.
It was very odd because when the live action show was announced, it had a completely different title and a different premise.
But not much different than ours.
When after ours was released, the name of the show changed to something very similar to ours, and some of the story beats changed to something very similar to ours.
Yes.
And I mean, like, it could be coincidence.
But
it's very weird.
Pitch Bible was that they had it like 2 or 3 years before that. Yeah. So, I mean, it's very possible. I mean, I think what happens in a lot of cases is you get middle management that basically just, takes these ideas and then they turn it into something else. And it's like, oh, look at you. You're going to be the showrunner. You're going to be
because they want to promote themselves. Yes.
Yeah. Everything's wrapping in November. This person says nothing new has been greenlit. So they were doing new Cartoon Network branded shows and movies or whatever, but I think they're going to be doing a lot of that work overseas.
I think so too.
This person says times are indeed tough. This is a professional BG painter. Times are indeed tough, but there's no way you could have that much insider knowledge on every studio in LA. Yeah, animation doesn't work like a horse race.
Okay, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. A bunch of animation people are going to tell us that Clownfish is a bunch of liars.
Coping.
They're wrong. They're full of crap. And then everything we said came to pass. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people disagree.
Kiss my ass, by the
they're like,
way.
oh, I'm a professional. You can't know for sure. What'll happen is...
Well, you can't know for sure. But,
you can't know for sure.
There does seem to be a trend.
There is definitely a trend. And look, again, animation is not really necessary. It seems like it's being downplayed. And when you have high-profile flops like Transformers 1, it doesn't make a good case to do more. Now, Pixar, that's an outlier. That's an anomaly. Not everything is going to be Pixar. But I think basically we're going to...
Pixar almost got canned, so...
Pixar, yeah, they still laid people off at Pixar.
Hey, real quick, go back to the other thing for a second. I wanted to point something out. Interesting. The person said about, the one that said not, you can't tell. They said that the sad truth, things are going to get even out once again, once a lot of professionals leave the industry forever, which is true. For anyone out of or nearing the end of college, you want to get in. It's going to be a war of attrition. The longer you can financially manage to hold out for things to pick up, the more of your competition is going to drop out, improving your chances. I'm like, that's the reality, guys, right there. They're probably right.
Yeah.
But that's the reality. You have to hang on and
Hold
suck dirt until until maybe you can get it. Maybe if they don't send it all overseas first.
Well, yeah, and then we've got AI too, which is a whole nother thing. So, but why don't you share with people? I don't know, because it's been a while since you've told the story about that one person that wanted to move to California because they didn't want to work retail. They were going to go live their dreams as an animator.
This person I knew on Facebook, I forget where they live, like Midwest somewhere, I think. Anyway, they just one day announced that they were going to quit everything because they're tired of working retail and they were going to move to California and decide to be a storyboard artist. And then I was like, oh, do you have a job out there? No. And people were like, you should do it. You should give everything. Go for your dream. You can do it. You can do it. And I remember saying, I was like, well, I think I would recommend you make sure you have a job or some kind of, lead on jobs before you go out there, because quite frankly, you can't, like I said, spin a dead cat without hitting like 10 different storyboard artists. And there's a lot of people in the jobs already. I don't know how much demand there is. And you might not want to just up and, move until you have some kind of plan. Oh, you're negative. Why would you tell them that? You're a terrible person. What? You're a joke. How dare you say that? You're hurting their dreams, your names, and all that stuff. Anyway, person went out there, and exactly what I said happened. They could not find a job in the industry. It was oversaturated. They ended up having to work a retail job again, and eventually, after a couple of years, they moved back home because they I think the family had to pay for them to come back home because they just wasted 2 years, lived in squalor and tried to work retail to survive because there weren't any openings.
Yeah.
And just like I said, it's fine if you have a lead on something or if you have you already have a job. That's completely different than just dropping everything, just heading out there to see if maybe, hot damn, I have a dream, and that's great. Except not if you're going to be worse off than you were when you left.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is the OP who's getting into it with this professional background painter, and they actually downvoted -1 his comment. But he said, "What's amazing to me is anyone, even a showrunner of an animated series, can go broke due to poor choices or just by living in California."
Well, that's true.
He said, "With a niche like cartoons that has little insight of the career field, you think there'd be some kind of pension or safety net in the event the industry slows down. Putting all your eggs into one basket, not having a backup plan or any type of passive income can be detrimental." But he's talking about other people that were very successful. They basically became business owners. Mm-hmm. Seth MacFarlane, Matt Groening, they became like their own studios or whatever. He said to leave animation for a bit and focus on Todd McFarlane, who started a toy company out of comics. Like if he had just stayed a comic book artist, he'd probably be broke by now. But he started a toy company. The man's able to push Spawn Comics past 300 issues, has all these spinoffs, whatever. If anything, he says maybe more people in the industry should obtain some business savvy and diversify because we can't rely on these studios to give us work year round. And he got downvoted.
But they're not wrong.
That's
could be a she, I don't know.
Well, Chuckles 465, he or she. No, that's 100% correct.
It's not a realistic financial plan for the majority of animators.
The majority, but it's still a plan. If you want to be smart, if you want to be smarter than the smarties and tougher than the toughies, you're gonna have to think outside the box. And this is the problem with all this stuff: is everybody wants a warm seat. Everybody wants a system, a cushy job, job security, all that. And I'm like, look at the people that started these studios. How many times did Walt Disney go broke?
They keep saying, "Oh, it's luck." It's not luck.
It's not always luck.
It's not just luck. There's a lot more to it than luck. Luck only takes you so far.
Yeah, you put yourself in the best position possible to take advantage of a lucky break here and there. But you also, you don't always make your own luck. But if you are positioning yourself for that and you're doing due diligence, it is more likely that you're going to get a break.
Well, at this point in time, even if you don't go on to be some big deal like them, it's probably smart to have a backup plan because the industry, especially anything in Hollywood, anything creative, whether it be movies, whether it be comic books, whether it be, music, anything creative, it has ups and downs, and it's very hard. I would recommend to anyone who wants to do anything creative that, you have skills in other ways, so that if it doesn't work for you or until you get in, you can go do something else. And then if something else comes along, you get back in, that's great. But if you suddenly get out again, not a problem. You have skills in an unrelated field that you can like fall back upon. Sorry if you don't want to hear it.
Yeah, have a plan B, but also a plan C, D, and E, because you never know what's going to happen, especially in this economy, this world right now. We don't know what the hell is going to happen month to month, let alone year to year. Everything is changing very quickly. So yeah, I mean, definitely, I hope all these people land on their feet, but it might be that they have to choose another career path just because it's not there. The money's not there, guys. So we're going to wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Join the reef. Go to clownfish-.com. That's clownfish-.com. You will get exclusive access to podcasts and videos and comic strips and more, as well as merch discounts. Check it out. If you were a member, you could get this t-shirt, this dismal t-shirt on our website. You'd get a 10% discount on that. You can also join in the community on clownfish-.com. Thank you so much for the support.